Technological advancements have made it possible to retrieve broadcasted news from the future with the use of an advanced proprietary AI quantum computing system engineered in our labs. We at Navigator News Network are the first and only news source to retrieve, delineate, and make available to the public portions from these transmissions, less any information that is deemed to potentially compromise the timeline and global security. And now, here is News from the Future. Good evening. I'm your host, Serenity Z, for tonight's broadcast on Navigator News Network. We help you navigate through the silly horseshit and lead you to the truth as we deliver tomorrow's news today. For our second report, we have compiled these 5 following news stories for you, spanning from 2022 to 2037. Our first story has been retrieved from April 29th, 2022. The White House plays the euphemism game quite well by downgrading the border crisis to a challenge, then later reducing it to a circumstance, then again to an occurrence. And now, with the latest euphemism, it is called a passage. Also, the new euphemism for dog crap is chocolate ice cream now. We suspect that within a couple of weeks, the newest euphemism of the Biden administration for the massive influx of illegal entry into the U.S. will be to call it tourism and state that the tourism industry is booming because of Biden's policy and the economy is rapidly improving as a result. The administration excels so much at euphemisms that in the eyes of the gullible general public, they completely neutralize the problems in the process and eventually make the crisis they create sound like positive progress that is good for U.S. citizens. As such, the mainstream leftist media will give praise to President Biden for bringing positive change to the U.S. Meanwhile, the sheeple who watch said news propaganda will applaud the administration for a job well done and be grateful for the overwhelming border crisis. Our next story was retrieved from June 14th, 2022. The threat of the newest COVID-19 variant, the Mickey Mouse variant, originally discovered on a Disney cruise ship, continues to loom over Americans. This latest threat is slightly more virulent as the original COVID-19 strain. Only one person, someone in hospice care, has died from it, which doesn't sit well with liberal politicians and media. So they are concocting false science data to keep citizens gripped by fear in order to maintain their authoritarian control. Due to the fear porn imposed by the government, on Independence Day, Joe Biden, America's favorite president of all time, is generously granting Americans who have received 4 COVID vaccines, a rabies shot, and an IQ test results that do not exceed 106, the right to gather in small crowds while wearing masks. Americans will be permitted to gather with up to 3 households only on this day of freedom. Here's what you need to know about the painless restrictions imposed by the administration. You must wear 3 masks. You must use fossil fuel-free alternatives to get where you need to go, such as a unicycle, roller skates, e-bike, covered wagon, or 100% electric vehicles. If you are planning to grill, you can, but only with clean burning fuel. Only plant-based foods can be eaten during the celebrations. No meats will be allowed. Fireworks will not be permitted because of the resulting pollution. You will not be allowed to have any patriotic items displayed or worn. You also are not permitted to wear red, white, or blue on this day of celebration. Enforcers, who will be easily identified by wearing brown button-up shirts featuring a graphic print of Biden's youthful, kind, handsome face, will be monitoring these small gatherings, armed with tasers, tear gas, bullhorns, and silly string. They will be roaming parks and backyards to hogtie, waterboard, tickle, and beat with wet noodles, or your macaroni salad if you have some handy at your small gathering, anyone who violates these reasonable laws designed to protect you and other freedom-loving Americans. Biden threatens fines, internment camps, or both to any citizen who deviates from this moderate guidance. For a full list of the government restrictions on the day Americans celebrate freedom and independence from a government that was too restrictive, visit whitehouse.gov/4th of July. Our next story has been retrieved from April 29th, 2023. Yet another power outage has inconvenienced Americans. This time, issues stemming from a downed power grid extend well beyond the borders of America. California, especially, has been troubled by repeated power outages, and this latest one has affected the San Francisco, Silicon Valley area. This caused power drops to Facebook and Twitter, among many other big tech corporations located in the area. After 46 straight hours without power to the area, millions of people globally have suffered severe withdrawals of the two social media platforms, and widespread panic has set in as a result. Global users of the two tech giants have had a variety of severe adverse mood effects. Officials are shocked to learn hospitals and psychiatric centers are nearing capacity, while other users are rioting in the streets as rampant side effects of the withdrawals permeate society. It is estimated that there has already been damage from the frenzied response in the range of at least $500 million. We can only hope that PG&E can quickly restore power before this crisis leads to further chaos, destruction, and mental health issues. We interviewed several users of the social media outlets. Here is just a sample. I'm in utter shock. How are we supposed to live without Twitter and Facebook? It's like the end of the world, said panicked 22-year-old Tiffany Bueller. Tyler Jacobs from a Dallas area suburb said, I woke up yesterday and found that Twitter was down. I kept checking every 10 minutes, and it was still down. It's been a rough couple of days for sure. I'm so depressed. And frazzled 17-year-old Tamara Watson moaned with frustration. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my selfies. I'm itching to share them. I haven't gotten likes in like 2 days. For your safety, it is strongly advised you stay indoors until this global crisis of epic proportions has been resolved. Our next story was retrieved from March 1st, 2026. Your favorite month of the year has arrived. March is National Blame White People Month. Of course, white people can be blamed any day of the year, any time of day. But in March, shifting blame to white people is celebrated. Over the years, it has evolved into quite the occasion. It comes on the heels of Black History Month, where African Americans reminisce of their accomplishments and celebrate everything they take pride in, while in addition, often blaming white people for anything they don't want to be accountable for. While February focuses more on highlighting that pride, the following month focuses entirely on blaming white people for all of their mistakes. This month is celebrated by far more than just African Americans, though. Anyone who lacks accountability may blame white people for any and everything during this month. As the holiday has increased in popularity, In recent years, it has grown to include street parades, complete with floats and featuring the center of attraction, a tall white man with a target on his back. Participants in special costumes wear anything but white and carry bows with quivers to later use during the finale for hitting the target painted on the iconic white man's back. Contests also highlight the special occasion as well as holiday recipes and cookouts. In more recent years, it has become a bit of an international phenomenon and also celebrated in several other countries. It's truly a month where nearly anyone from almost any background can feel remorseless and free of blame as they shift it onto white people. It is becoming more and more adopted globally, so it's anticipated that it will become an international holiday within just a few short years. Check your local calendar for events near you to celebrate the occasion and redirect all your blame to white people, especially during this widely celebrated holiday. And our final story in this report was retrieved from July 10th, 2037. Now that critical infrastructure and terraforming has been completed, another ship was planning on heading off to Mars. This next journey was to include more supplies and, for the first time, colonization by less essential persons, such as bar and restaurant staff, manufacturing workers, janitors, and hairstylists. But due to an amazing discovery of a stargate located near the Holden crater, colonization efforts will be amplified on a massively ramped up scale as personnel and supplies will be transferred to the distant red planet with incredible ease. After scientists spent months trying to decode the ancient alien technology to access the gateway and dial into a portal to Earth, their efforts finally paid off, and they were ready to announce their success to the citizens of the globe. There was over 2 weeks of testing the gateway by sending various inanimate objects through in both directions. After it was concluded to be effective, a dog, 7 various primates, 4 rats, 2 turtle doves, a partridge in a pear tree, 5 corpulent porpoises, and some plants were sent through in both directions to be sure biological matter could go through effortlessly without any breakdown of matter or psychological effects. Once they confirmed its safety, Space Force cosmonaut Jim Milani was the first human to enter the gateway. It was a huge moment of celebration when moments later, Milani appeared unharmed at the other side on Earth, where another Stargate was located due to the findings from the Mars Stargate. Since then, there has been dozens of people that have traveled both ways through the interstellar corridors. This is perhaps the greatest discovery in the history of humankind, and we are delighted to share this momentous news with humanity, even though it's not the usual digest of fear, control, and propaganda. And that concludes our 5 News from the Future stories here on Navigator News Network. I'm Serenity Zed, signing off. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe because there are lots more episodes coming up in the News from the Future series and many more comedy sketches from Satire with Serenity. Also, please give that thumb icon a press and share my channel with those you know who love freedom and appreciate good satire. If you'd like to support Satire with Serenity to help me with more costumes, equipment, and more, see the description below. Check out my Critical Thinkers merch while you're there.